everyone, welcome or welcome back here to my channel where I play PineHut Zoo. My name is Lisa and today we're gonna build the first habitat here in our new zoo, which is PineHut Zoo. This is a Taiga Zoo and therefore, as I mentioned in Wednesday's speed build, we will try to utilize some different techniques because we don't want all of the animals to freeze. We are going to build today this South American jungle, and we're gonna build that in here because we can utilize the heat for the building to actually make sure our animals are happy and keep warm and all this stuff. And when we get outside of this building, we will have to use animals that can actually take the cold. So therefore it makes more sense to build something in here that guests in these tiger areas really want to see and rarely see in real life, and at the same times actually they would get a chance to see this way. For our tropical South American jungle, we're gonna have the capybara, of course, and the giant anteater. I'm not gonna add the tapir, I can't pronounce, because it don't like to have guests inside of the habitat, and the guest will clearly be inside of the habitat here. Then we're gonna add the Galapagos giant tortoise. I did, however, only buy females because I just didn't like to have the baby boom this early on in the game, to be honest. But as you know, I really can't limit myself, so we have 6 exhibit animals also, you can see here. So we have the green iguana, the red-eyed tree frog, the boa constrictor, the yellow anaconda, the Amazonian giant centipede, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, I'm sorry, and the Lehman's poison frog. But we are not gonna stop there either because we need some monkeys in the house. So we got the black Howler monkey, the Bolivian gray Titi monkey, the Colombian white-faced capuchin monkey, the golden-headed lion Tamarin monkey, the Yucatan spider monkey, and final, we also gonna have birds in here. I know we don't have any real good bird mods at this point, but I'm gonna use the ones from the Birds of the World pack, I think it's called. You can see all about it in my prop playlist for mods, sorry. Basically, it's props, but some of them do actually move, so you will see them later, and they will all be macaques. However, different colors of macaques actually live in different parts of South America, so even though we technically only have one bird, we will, however, still have covered a big chunk of South America this way. And with this many animals in our habitat, I clearly won't be able to talk about every single one of them, but I wanted to take a different route today, so I hope you are okay with that. I don't exactly want to talk about every single animal in here, but I want to talk about what they're dying of, basically. We have the normal issues as we talked about again and again and again, and I want to focus on one. Of course, they all get hurt by climate change, deforestation, and so on. We have a lot of different issues, but the one I am focusing most on today will be the deforestation, though I will briefly touch on some other stuff also. So it will be one of the darker episodes, but I will try to keep it light and friendly as much as I can, so I hope you're okay with that. To be honest, I clearly aren't the most clever person in the world, and even though I don't like to admit it, but there are a few things I want to mention before we start today. One of them being that we will try to focus on the ways we can help instead of ways that we kill them. to try to keep it a little bit lighter. But at the same time, also, I would really love it if you guys, you probably know some stuff I don't know. So in the comment section today, could you please, if you know, for instance, a way to help the world with climate change or deforestation or another issue we know the animals have, please comment it below. It can be different kinds of markings. We will talk about them a little bit later. Where when you buy this, you know, for instance, we have fair trade. That doesn't exactly help the animals, but we all know when something is marked fair trade, what it represents. So any markings like that helps the animals, comment section below. Any types of non-profits that helps animals or deforestation or climate change or anything like that, comment section below. I want a complete comment section of every way we can help the world today. So I hope you are here for that, because I thought a long time about this, and I really want you to not only listen to me, but to join the conversation, and maybe you also can teach me a few things. First of all, I want to explain why I hone in on the deforestation and the climate change, and it's because it's partly the same. Of course, we have the issues where we actually cut down the trees, but it still goes hand in hand, because when we chop down the trees, they won't remove so much of the carbon dioxide, I think it's called in English, and they won't make the same amount of photosynthesis, so we won't get as much of the clean air, which are a big part of the climate change. So and because of the climate change, of course, we also actually chop down more trees, for instance, to keep warm, build houses, and so on. And I know it's a hard topic to talk about right now, because we have the issues where the electricity gets more expensive, and the the oil get more expensive, and that may not be the right time to talk about these things. But at the same time, I think it's important we talk about these things before it's too late. And as always, I really can't tell you what you should do or what you have to do, but I can tell you what I think is the right thing to do. However, when it comes to it, we all really need to take a look at ourselves and feel in our own bodies what we stand for and what is the most important thing for you or for me. Just a easy example. My channel is very much about helping nature and the animals. However, this doesn't mean that I don't care about Black Lives Matter movement or #MeToo movement or anything like that. I do care about that, but honestly, if I wanted to make the same amount of videos on every single topic, I would die, and at the same time, you wouldn't have the energy to listen that much to me every single week. So basically, we need to feel in our own body what is the most important thing for you or for me, which things we will really stand on, because you can't, for instance, when you go down and buy groceries, you can't really get every single marking on every single thing. However, you can go for some things. But at the same time, we also need to be aware of our own countries and national rules that may affect these kind of things. For instance, I never buy any cosmetic, makeup, perfumes, anything that say cruelty free. And that's not because I don't want people to be cruel to animals at all, but it's because in Denmark it's illegal to sell things with the marking cruelty free, because it has been illegal for years to test your cosmetics on animals, and at the same time it's also illegal to lie on the market and put markings on your stuff that confuse the market. So it's actually illegal to put cruelty-free on things in Denmark because they may confuse the consumer. So the consumer thinks that the thing is better, even though all cosmetic in Denmark technically are cruelty-free, since it is illegal to test on animals and anything like that. There are, however, still vegan markings, for instance, because you are still allowed to use honey and that kind of things in cosmetics. And as I said earlier, it can be very difficult to find products that have every single marking on it that we would like to have. So you kind of need a tier list or something like that to make yourself aware that what is the most important for you. For me, one of the most important, especially with wine. I don't drink wine anymore because I'm alcohol free, but when I drank wine, I like to drink African wine, and I wanted them all to be fair trade, which again is something I think most of us really want our wines to be. Not necessarily from Africa, but fair trade wine, as just like our coffee and other kinds of things. However, fair trade, that's only about the farmer. It's not about the animals around the farm. At the same time, imported stuff don't necessarily get the markings from the country they are sold in, but rather from the country they are from. Therefore, in Denmark, actually, we will see the Rainforest Alliance mark. That's the little bluish green circle with the frog in it. And that's not a Danish marking at all, but we will see it around on different kind of stuff. However, in Denmark, we have stuff like the swan mark, or the nature mark, telling us different things. The swan mark is both like perfume free and free from different kinds of chemicals, where the nature mark is more like it haven't damaged the nature at all. So here I really recommend that you actually do your own research in the country you live in and figure out which kind of markings are there on different stuff in your country and which markings are important to you. Keep in mind though, in some countries, markings aren't really controlled. Some markings you can just buy, and some markings are just like something that you can say no matter what, where others are some kind of foundation behind it that keep an eye on it and check up that everything is as we want it to be. And one thing I actually don't think many people think about with these kind of markings is timber. For instance, if you want to build a shed in your garden, then you can actually check out on that timber exactly which forest it comes from and how it's been sourced. That can be a really good tool to keep an eye on what you actually do get. In Denmark, I know one of the highly regarded kind of timbers is from Norway. For instance, because it's beautiful dark wood, but also because it doesn't take that long time in transport. Norway is really close, and keep in mind that we are a very small country, so we can get to Norway in a couple of hours. So it's not like from USA to South USA to Canada, for instance. It's real close compared to other kinds of wood that will come from Africa or South America and all the way to Denmark, which would have to sail the entire way and then get repackaged and dry over a long time and all this kind of stuff, where it's may not be the most beautiful wood you can get at your own country, but it would be better for the environment, for the forests around the world, to take a forest from your own areas. I know people who live in South America, of course, use wood from South America, but always keep in mind that you don't buy the double amount you need, and always keep in mind that you need to take care of your wood. If you have a wood fence, take care of it so you don't need to build a new every single year. Take good care of it and it will last you a lifetime, and that's also a way to actually protect the forest. And while we talk about trees, let's just talk about how you actually can add trees. There's various different ways you can do that. For instance, establish titles in Scotland, where you have probably heard YouTubers talk about them before. I have nothing I talk about today is sponsored in any way or affiliate or anything like that, but where you can actually get yourself a title, because if you own a land in Scotland, then you are automatically a lord or a lady, so you get a pretty title, and you own a small plot of land, I think it's 1 or 2 square feet. However, they will plant a tree on that plot of land, and that way you get a fancy title and you plant a tree. I know a single tree doesn't change the world, but if you get this title for the entire family, then you do make a little mark there. However, there's also multiple planted tree foundations around the world where you also can help out that way. And it doesn't always need to be trees. Again, we also talk about climate change. And if we want to really do an impact on that CO2, then we need plants all around the world. And that can be just you have a plant in your window, that can be your garden, that can be your whatever you want. As the more living plants you have around you, the cleaner the air. And if you want to have a hint on which plants are better, the plants that have these big green leaves and very small flowers clean more air, because it's the leaves that clean the air. The flowers are just pretty. So if you want to know what to go for, always go for the big green leaves. I won't talk too much about the climate change because we have all heard about it for years, and I do believe most countries at this point actually recognize it as an issue at this point. Not quite sure, but I think so. So hopefully think about how much you use your car, think about how many cars you have, think about how much electricity you use, how much oil you use, how much of all these fossil fuels you use, and overall, yeah, just think about this kind of stuff. It can also help you out now where the electricity and everything is just too expensive, to actually save up some money that way and help the world at the same time. Moving on to another issue that actually also combines to the other two, and that's our population fragmentation, as they call it in the game. Because when you remove a big chunk of the forest, and mainly if you do it in the middle of the forest, you cut over the road between two parts of the forest, which means that animals from the one side and the other side maybe never meet again. For instance, with a lot of monkeys have this thing where the females live in the troop all their life, the troop that they are born into, where the males actually, when they get sexually active, they will actually move on to another troop, and after that they will move on every 4th year, roughly. But what if they actually can't get to another troop? What if they can't find another troop because the forest is clipped over, or even worse if the other animals died because they got caught under a falling tree or something like that. I'm not sure if everyone is aware, but people who chop down these giant forests don't have the time to check every single tree if there's any animals on it or under it in any way. So that's also a big issue, honestly. But when the populations are fragmented in this way, we have both a way to help them and not a way to help them at the same time. Let me explain that. I know that sounded weird, but basically it's like we can't really take them all and move them over to the others because the troops still need space enough to find food. You can't just combine the troops, they still need space in between. But what we actually can do is try to restore the forest. Again, all of these different plant and tree foundations help out a lot. But at the same time, you can actually help out in your local zoo. A lot of zoos also have different kinds of donation boxes where you can help out in this way. For instance, with planetary, but also donating to the zoos or just paid for an expensive zoo ticket, because it helps the animals out, and at a time, hopefully, they will be able to release a lot of those beautiful animals back out to the wild, and therefore hopefully close out some of these holes between the different populations so they can be closer together that way. There are also multiple wonderful foundations that are on the ground where these things happens. For instance, in South America, that can be Africa and can be Asia. It can also be Europe or North America or wherever, that do a lot of work. I can mention that we numerous times here in Denmark have seen television programs from Borneo, since a lot of orangutans get found because poachers killed their moms, and then they are taken in by these foundations, raised, and when they are old enough, they get released again. It's just an example for something I actually have seen in television and not only read about, but there are also beautiful organizations on the ground in South America and Africa and all these kind of places, and you can either go and donate, but you can also volunteer and get a wonderful, if I may say so, trip yourself. I know it will be very difficult, very hard to see all of these terrible things close up, but at the same time you will get a unique opportunity. And if you're taking a year off from school, or you want to travel a bit but don't have the money, that can actually be a way to do it. I'm not saying you have to, I'm just saying there's a lot of opportunities if you don't know what else to do for a year or something like that. A lot of these different foundations do not require you to have a specific education. Of course, they need vets for surgery and these kinds of stuff, but basically they also just need people to put the water in a bowl or feed a baby with a bottle or something like that, and that could be you if it's something you think you would want to do. Again, no pressure, I'm just saying if I could, I would love to, and maybe I can inspire something else to do it, since I can't at this point. And if you want to volunteer but don't want to do the travel, you can actually, a lot of different foundations also use volunteers locally. That could be for administration, or it could also be for fundraising or something like that. Or you could do your own fundraiser if that's something you want, to help these beautiful creatures out. And a lot of different foundations actually also allow you to use them to donate through. So you will stand for the fundraising, but the money will go directly to you, so you don't have to handle the money. That's also an opportunity, and the world is full of opportunity. Once again, if you know of any really good foundation, please, comment section is there for you, and I would really like to know if there's something new I should dive into. As you know, I love to talk about WWF, but basically I just love to learn about new foundations, and I know a lot of you come from all around the world. I know the main part of my viewers are from North America, but I also got a few viewers in Asia, Africa, Europe, you name it, all around me, and it's wonderful. So maybe you can even mention some local foundations that I would never even hear about, and someone else who watch my channel who are from the same area will find it that way. So, and not only on this video, but just in general, if you find something new at some point, just write it in the comment section, because we need more people to help these foundations. I don't think the issue is the number of foundations at this point. I think the issue is that people don't know about them and where to find them. I'm pretty sure that's the main issue now. And also that a lot of people, and I know I have myself been doing this a lot, where I keep thinking, oh, I gonna donate next month, or I'm gonna volunteer for this next month or next year or something, and then I just forget about it instead of just doing it. So that's kind of why I keep throwing all of these foundation at you, because if you didn't want to do it that day, or you didn't have the money, then I will remind you later, and I hope you are okay with that. I will just like to remind you before I forget, everything you see here, if you don't have it, then it's either from one of the DLCs or it's from a mod. Keep in mind that I have two different mod playlists. One is for animals and one is for props. And these beautiful macaw birds here are from the prop, because the game just don't do flying. So therefore, instead, NicholasLionRider, I think it is, along with Aurora Design, I think, made this beautiful props instead, so you can just place them down, and then every single color have 3 different a way to sit. So one where they just sit, and one where they sit and look to the side, and one with the wings out. And then they have a flying animation. They will only fly in a circle like you see here, but they are beautiful, they are gorgeous, and I don't think enough people know about them. I have a Google Drive document with every single modded bird prop at this point, and which where they come from, and which mod you need to download to get them, and all of that. I will link that below so you can open that document. It's just an Excel document, so I think you need Word to read it, but that's all. If you want to use it, it's there for you. If you don't want to, you don't have to, but it's just, I get confused in all of these mods sometimes, so it's nice to have something to know where things are and where to find them. Anyway, how do you feel when I take a topic up like this instead of just talking specifically about a single or 2 single animals? I really wanted to make this video, but at the same time, you probably noticed I didn't go too much into detail, both because I think all of us who are in my channel community, or what's it called, are already aware of a lot of these things, but at the same times I don't want to get too much into it, because I don't want to be sad, and these types of things actually makes me pretty sad. So I think it's important to talk about, but in a limited manner, so I don't cry myself to sleep afterwards. So please tell me in the comment section below also, along with all of the links you find and all of the tips you have, how you like this format. I will still love to tell you a lot about the animals, but for instance here, where I have too many animals to actually talk about them all, to take a topic of like a biome or a region or something like that, and especially if there's some specific area or something specific in the world you would like me to dive into. Again, I stay pretty topical, but besides that, yeah, please tell me. Anyway, I've been talking way too long, as you know, as always, so please enjoy the cinematics and I will come back afterwards. Okay guys, we are here. I just want to mention again all the animals we have in here because maybe you missed some. I apologize if I didn't get cinematics of all of them, but they are everywhere at once, so I thought it was more important to show off the big picture than zoom in on every single animal. But in the exhibit boxes we have the green iguana, the red-eyed tree frog, the boa constrictor, the yellow anaconda, the Amazonian giant centipede, I think it's called, and the lemon poison frogs. 4 monkeys around the habitats, which are the biggest part in here. We have the black howler monkey, the Bolivian green Titi monkey, the Colombian white-faced capuchin monkey, the golden-headed lion Tamarin, the Yucatan spider monkey, and for non-monkey and not exhibit animals we have the capybara, the giant anteater, and the Galapagos giant tortoise. So overall, I think we actually gave a lot of room for every single one of these animals, even though we have a lot in here. I didn't put like 20 monkeys of one subspecies in here. I only put like 5 of each, I think, and that's also why they might be a little bit harder to find. But at the same time, I wanted to make hiding room for all of them because we don't want them to get stressed by the guest. Anyway guys, that's all I got for you today, so you know the drill. Like, subscribe, and turn on the bell notification so you know the next time I upload a video. I will hope to see you again, either in the comments below or in the next video. Bye guys!